Sound. Top cover. Hello! Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop for July 8th, 2017. It looks like it'd be a fine... Well, I guess it's a little muggy out where I'm at, but a fine day overall. We got, of course, myself with you as usual, and my co-host, Joe. But this week we have two guests with us, Erin and Audrey, who's going to help us talk about a couple of interesting topics. Of course, I'll give you two the opportunity to... as I like to say, pimp yourself out at the end, because I say that about everyone doing this. Because I started saying it and I forgot what the term I really wanted to use was, and I left with that one.
And I pimp Matt every week, so...
Yeah. Alright, so, why don't we begin with today's docket? First off, the Hours of Devastation pre-release is happening this weekend, so I wanted to at least mention some information about that, talk about what we thought about it. I wanted to talk about the Magic the Gathering tokens for Hours of Devastation, because I'm a big fan of tokens. I have collected them, so I like to talk about them, and that's why I put it on the docket. Then, because Erin and Audrey both do some Magic cosplay, I wanted to talk about their experiences with it, since we have talked about that with some people before, but, you know, some good experiences, and especially maybe some experiences with Vegas, though I think we'll dive into Vegas a little more, well, results of it in the coming weeks. Then I have two more topics. I've got the Westbound RPG, which there is more than one Westbound RPG, which Joe found out about. We're talking about a new one coming out. And we'll finish up by talking about Starfinder First Contact, which is the first release for Starfinder, which is technically free, though you could pay for a hard copy of it if you wanted to. And of course, then our normal segments of Stories from the Table and Gaming Sage Advice. And of course, Stream Cat. Good kitty. Anyway, because there's apparently more than one around today. But why don't we dive into our first topic at hand, the Hours of Devastation pre-release. I don't think I'll have an opportunity to go, just because my schedule's terrible, and funding, I probably don't have enough extra after that Steam summer sale the other week, because, you know, that killed me. It managed to catch me. But I wanted to know what people's opinions are about it, because this is our opinion about Hours of Devastation as a whole, too. Why don't we start with I don't know, Erin or Audrey, either of you, if you want to start out with? I don't know which one.
I know I have plans to go this fine day. I don't know exactly which one I'm going to go to yet, because there's a lot of different ones. I heard that there's actually a two-headed giant pre-release at a game store that I like to go to. So I'm kind of tempted to go to that, just because I like two-headed giant a lot. I don't know, I feel like my experience with the pre-release and my feeling about any set before it comes out and before I really get to, like, draft it a bunch of times and get a feel for it is just that, like, I'm just gonna go. Like, I know a lot of people, I like to look at spoilers and I'll see one card or another and be like, ooh, that's cool. But what inevitably happens when I go to a pre-release is I'll, like, find something and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I found a synergy. It's gonna be so cool. I just, you know, broke the system, I know, and then I don't win a single game because I just, either it's bad luck or lack of experience or lack of something. I've made decks before and like shown them to people and they're like, I don't know, like, this deck seems fine, like, you should have taken at least one or two games, but I just kind of tend to make a lot more mistakes if I'm not familiar with my deck. And so when I like to, when it comes to any format, I like to just draft it a bunch and kind of get to know it, and then once I've, you know, drafted it at least 3 times, I usually kind of know what to expect and what kind of stuff I can make. And so I'm excited about I'm a little sad and disappointed in myself because I had a weird goal for the Hour of Devastation pre-release. I wanted to dress up, like, with my friends and I wanted to dress up like Yu-Gi-Oh villains, because I thought it would be a fun thing to do for an Egyptian-themed set, because everybody's always asking me if you know, like I'm like, oh, I like Magic the Gathering. Is it like a card game like Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh.
My background is in the anime community, and I'm not as into anime now, but I still go to a lot of anime conventions, so I'll be like, yeah, it's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh, except much better and more fun and a little bit more fun, but, you know, kind of like that. So I thought it would be fun to show up and be like, yeah, we showed up for the ancient Egyptian card game, and I thought someone would have fun with that pun. But,
No, that would have been wonderful.
Pun, I guess it's kind of visual pun, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm too lazy. I didn't make any of this stuff because I was too tired in Las Vegas. I put like my cosplay projects kind of on hold. I want to do them. I'm just kind of, I keep looking at my supplies and being like, yeah, maybe tomorrow we'll work on that. I'll get there. I always do.
I know the feeling. I spent so much time getting ready for Vegas that now that it's over, I'm just like, what am I gonna do? I have a GP coming up at the end of July, but I'm still like, So it's hard. Hopefully I'm gonna go tomorrow. Again, it's a rough balance sometimes between cosplay and playing Magic.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't focus on one or the other as much. I have to kind of choose. So I feel a little bit more withdrawn from looking at everything. I mean, I always listen to the limited resources set reviews, and I hope that some of that information just like melts into my brain somehow.
Yeah, those are actually really great. I listen to those as well. I know exactly what you mean.
Yep, and I just hope that some of it just, sticks in, and then hopefully we're gonna go tomorrow. Cool. My husband unfortunately is working today, and we usually will do the morning one because my daughter has just started recently going with us.
Ooh, a family affair. Mm-hmm.
Raise those children to become magic people.
It is in everything that we do. Even the other day, my kids are bored, and I'm like, we have so many extra comms, and it comes and I'm like, hey guys, do you want to like alter some cards? Look at these funny things people do with googly eyes. And yeah, so, and for several days they would come down first thing in the morning and we're like, okay, bring me the Sharpies, give me the paints, and yeah.
Good times. Good times.
Subtly infusing their entire beings with gaming and magic and stuff.
That's cool. I personally think that it is a lovely thing to have in your life to keep you nice and grounded. I mean, I've been playing games since I was really, really young, and it's always been something like I get depressed if I'm not occupied. So like when I'm just working or or it's like a break between school quarters or whatever, I'm always like, I gotta play games. Because if I don't play games, I just sort of feel like a bit useless, or like my brain isn't nice and active. I don't know. But I think it's good. Like I read an interesting book once that was called, what is it called? It was like Everything Bad is Good for You. Somebody bought it for me, and they're like, you're gonna like this because it's about how video games make you a smarter person. And I'm like, yeah, I like this. I've already known this for years, but I like it. And it's true, like it helps you develop a good sense of spatial reasoning, critical thinking, math skills. I feel like this is maybe a little off topic, but
that's fine.
Well, you know what? I see the same thing with my kids, right? Because right from a young age, we've been playing games with them, and like their math skills, their comprehension, and I mean, I've even seen over the past couple of years, from like even last year to this year with my son, because we play Commander with the kids a lot too, and he's more able to keep track of his entire board state and do things that wouldn't normally have been obvious to him even a year ago, and he's starting to get those things.
And it helps in real life too, because sometimes you gotta add some numbers and do some others. I mean, in my field, it's like that, and and then also like with things like D&D and other role play games, you can really I think it gives people a really good a way to socialize with each other, and B, it's like a really good way to work out, to think about people's emotions and the way that they interact with each other without necessarily making it about like you interacting with other people. I don't know. I actually, like I know of a friend. She's like working with teenagers right now doing D&D, like a summer D&D course thing, and it sounds like it works really well for a lot of teenagers that have social problems and have trouble developing a social group. Definitely works for me. I'm not a teenager anymore, but it helps my social group stay nice and together.
Yep. I mean, hey, D&D is the thing that, well, technically role-playing and tabletop is what introduced me to this guy over here.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, LARPing introduced me to my husband. So.
Good time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mind you, there was like a 12-year gap between when I first met him and then when we actually got together. But
Yeah, most of our core friends we met in high school in a gaming club.
Yeah.
So, and
I met all my best friends. Sorry, I didn't.
Okay.
I met all my best friends at a convention, talking about comics and stuff. So, and they're like basically family at this point in terms of how much they affect my life. And I don't know. I sometimes think about like, what if I had never gotten into?
Yep.
And I would have. Then I would like, what would my life be? And there's like some bizarro me somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like I like sports, and maybe I would have met great friends in sports, but I don't know.
Hey, we know someone who likes tabletop gaming and then also likes sports, so we don't understand this.
Which we pick on him about liking sports.
Yeah, he likes football, and we're like, I don't understand football. Good for you.
Well, like I'm like an armchair quarterback. I like to watch my Seahawks, and y'all can feel however you feel about that. I know that the Seahawks are controversial around the country, but here in
I don't
Seattle,
think Matt and I have any opinions on it.
No, it's yay, that footing ball game. Excellent. What great sporting times.
I would say the only sport I will watch occasionally is baseball. That's because I played it. Football, I just see it as a bunch of guys trying to jump on top of each other.
Well, I mean, that's sort of the appeal too.
Yep. All right.
And then all of the rest of our group is like, oh, you guys are going to play sports. Well, or watch, not play, but like they'll just be like, oh, sports.
Sports. Yeah, I mean, I do not particularly mind sports, so that's what I could say about that. But why don't we move away from sports?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. It was.
Let's go to Quidditch. No,
Oh my god.
Well, Sierra looking pretty good now.
But yeah, so it looks like the pre-release is going to be an interesting one. A couple of us are going. I know, like, Joe and I are probably not, but I am looking forward to trying out some cards from the set and, you know, building a deck or two at some point. Whenever I can.
yeah, same here. I just spent a boatload of money getting my car repaired, so... Magic cards are not the priority at the moment.
I know, but I'm a collector. I want to get more.
I'm just sad because I feel like I'm like I wish that the set wasn't starting over again because I just like kind of got used to Armageddon.
Yeah.
I reached my peak. Last draft I did, where I actually drafted the white black zombies deck with like that one zombie that drains for 1 life every time a zombie enters the battlefield.
Ooh.
It worked really well for me. But I can't wait to see what I can do in Tower of Devastation. I don't know what I like yet though.
Sure.
Yeah, I also haven't. I've only played one pre-release and did horrible.
That's why it's hard to drag him back anyway, you know.
And I'm just like, I'd rather just buy the cards and play with my friends than embarrass myself at an event.
Yeah.
I'm a casual player.
I mean, I do okay at pre-releases, so that's why I occasionally go to one whenever I have an opportunity, so that's the best I can say about it.
I actually love pre-releases because I'm also a very competitive person. But I don't like being super competitive against my family. So at least then I can go and be in public and be ruthless and it's okay.
Yeah, I like public games for that reason too. You don't feel like you're causing yourself an emotional rift between an important person when you're like, oh, I just like.
I definitely can understand that. Like we have friends that we just like, yeah, you're not playing that deck anymore.
My husband has a deck, Commander deck, and I hate playing against it. I'll only play against it if there are at least 3 other people, because it's just awful and it just gets me like, it's like rage inside, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm done. And
if I might ask,
you know, when I get to go out and play at the store, it's different because I'm playing against other people and it's just not the same.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, when it's someone you don't know, it's easier because it's like, okay, I don't have to face that again, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But like, our one friend has what we call the Time Warp deck, which has an infinite turn combo.
It's based around getting Time Warp out. Yep, every turn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
And it's just like, if you're not prepared to play that, you don't have counter spells, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah, I just built a Modern Elves deck, and I went to my local Modern night, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can do Modern.
Hi, Aurora.
So immediately.
I'm streaming. Hi, Aurora. Stream Niece is here. Hi, Stream Niece.
Nice.
Stream me.
Okay, Stream Niece. What you doing? You looking for go play with Daddy.
Stream
You
Nice.
gotta be quiet.
You don't have to be super quiet. Just don't sing very loudly.
I bribed my kids with the computer. I was like, you guys go on the computer or your iPads or whatever and just, you know, be quiet for a while.
Well, I think it's lunchtime, so I think that's why they're down here and not hanging out in the air conditioning.
Lunchtime.
Lunchtime.
Yeah, we did lunch just before this. So.
You guys are all East Coast, aren't you?
Yes.
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 I rolled out of bed and had coffee.
Right.
So, I mean,
Well,
it's 10. Some people get up earlier than 9.
I've been up for maybe an hour
Yeah. Joe
because
got
I didn't
played.
get to bed till like 4:30.
That's fine with. I'm a night shift person and I'm nocturnal, so I don't judge.
I'm a day shift person. I was up from 6 a.m. on Friday till 4:30 last night.
That's a long day.
Yeah, I
I
passed.
literally can't do that.
I'm surprised I still can.
I've been asked to stay at work after a 12-hour shift for 4 more hours, and I'm like, you could do that, but you're signing up for a subpar me, and they'll be like, okay, all we need you to do is these small things, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's your half-drunk Audrey wandering around. Not like I'm actually drunk or anything,
No,
but after that amount of time, you sort of start. The world gets a little weird.
Oh, trust me, I remember back in high school, I was up for 3 days straight. The last day was a sleepover at a friend's house, and then we had a Magic tournament in the morning amongst ourselves. And, oh God, I just was insane.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you're so heavy.
It's definitely a funny thing because time starts to weirdly stretch and then get every time I have to stay up past 24 hours, I'm kind of just I don't remember those times.
I don't think I can stay up past 24 hours anymore.
I think I've managed it twice in my life. And now I literally, once my body's like, no, you're sleeping, and I go, and then I fall asleep. I just hit that like wall.
The trick is you never ever think about sleep. You just kind of go, what? Sleeping? That doesn't exist. Or like you take like a 20-minute nap and then and then drink a cup of coffee, or like drink a cup of coffee, take a 20-minute nap, then wake up and be like, yeah, that was 8 hours, and you just tell yourself that for as long as it takes. That's my. Don't do that though. It's bad for you.
Sorry.
I don't think I've stayed up for 24 hours in quite a while. Oh, God.
Yeah, it's very rare anymore. After I hit 30, those times are very rare. In my 20s, I was like, yeah, who needs sleep? Sleep's for the weak. Now it's like, I need sleep.
Yeah. It is, it's definitely tough.
It's funny because when you've got kids and kids are little and they like resist and they're like, no apps. I want to be up. And then when you get older and you're like, you know what? I would love a nap. It's like your perspective on it all just completely flips. And like my kids, I'm like, yeah, sure. You stay up as long as I can go sleep. It's fine.
Like my biggest thing is I'm just like, it's a wonderful, amazing day for me if I'm like, oh wow, I can sleep as much as I want. Or, that doesn't really happen. I mean, it sometimes happens, but it doesn't happen the way I don't know. I'm in nursing school, and the schedule is like one day we'll have like a thing that's like at 6 a.m, and then the next day we'll have something that's in the evening, or like I will have something that is in the evening, and I'm just like, I can't wait till I'm out of school so I can just be like, this is the one schedule I work. I work at night, or I work during the day, not like. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool. Well, why don't we move on to the next topic, because this was a pretty good one, and we got to touch on some interesting things. I do want to talk a little bit about the tokens of Hours of Devastation, because I like tokens. Now, granted,
I love tokens.
Yep.
Tokens are cool.
Yes.
Now, we have all the Eternal tokens, which are definitely interesting, because apparently they're all just 4/4 zombies anyway. But I like that we have blue, red, insect token, and horse token. Because horse token.
The horse.
I like the horse token.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I saw that, and my boyfriend was just recently playing like a commander deck that had featured a lot of creatures with horsemanship, and so when we saw the horse, are they bringing back horsemanship? And I don't know. I'm maybe not excited about that because I didn't really like it in his deck, but also, I mean, I like new dynamics, so that would be neat.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
Horses cool.
I do like there's also apparently a 5/4 snake token. I mean, come on. Normally they're like 1/1s.
Yeah, super snake.
Super snake. And if we ever would need a flying haste blue red insect other than with that one god, I mean, there we go. Insect tokens.
Good.
No, I'm happy about it. I think there's some neat stuff in the tokens. And as I said, I really enjoy tokens a lot, and it I guess since we really only have like we don't have a planeswalker token this time though. I mean, that's fine because we didn't have any crazy token gaining planeswalkers, which I guess is for the best. Question mark?
Yeah.
But hi, bye, cat. Thank you for leaving my lap. You were warm. It is not cool around here. But no, I do think it's very interesting that we're taking yet another take on, like, because we had our embalmed zombies last time, and now we have like black, more black and these like blue colored zombies because they're eternal.
Yeah. It's almost like they're like a lapis lazuli or kind of, I don't know. I think it's really pretty aesthetically. I'm not a huge fan of black, but you know. but I do like tokens.
Yeah.
That's something I've always liked about Magic is your ability to kind of customize and the art, because I'm very visually, I will not play certain cards because if I hate the art, I just, doesn't matter how good they are, I just won't play them. I'm silly like that. So tokens are fun, just the fact that they exist. So it gives you more options to do little neat things with your decks. And I'm gonna just plug Card of Jigs right now because Card of Jigs is like an amazing site, and every time there's a new set that comes out, I look to see what new other artists are doing, and I try to get as many tokens so that I can just have pretty and variety. And so I'm excited that there's so many tokens in Amonkhet and Hour of Devastation.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they do have a huge variety of them. Look, I am such a token fanboy. I got the Merit Lage token, so I mean that's just me. I got that thing. So that's like the best example of, hey, you got something crazy. But no, I think there isn't a huge thing to touch on with here because again, we're just talking a little bit about what tokens they have. But again, I think it's like one of those underappreciated sections of Magic cards to a degree, because there's something you just get with booster packs randomly also, but they're not an actual card. But people do some great art on them too, and there's some really interesting takes on things. So I think like I like some good respect for the good token, you know.
I like to go around after like drafts or any just like sealed event or the you know, like how people will throw their tokens and lands on the table. I like to go around and just kind of like I usually pick up the tokens and the and whatever lands that have art on it that I like.
Yep. I do the same thing.
I mean, like, I feel like a lot of people just leave them, and I never really understand why, because, like, in some cases with the lands, they, like, belong to the store, and then you put and so, like, in that case, like, I don't take the store's lands or anything, but people will just be, like, they'll leave, like, in, the Zendikar set, like, I never understood, ever, why anyone would leave a land on the table, because they were all full art. I was just like, dude, this is fucking awesome. There's,
yeah.
If you're being like money grubbing about it, they're like worth $1 online. Not that that's not why I take them, but like, come on, like when you're making a constructed set, it's so nice to be like, I have like 16 different full arts putting here, and now I know that this is like a proper constructed deck that I have chosen to build this, and thus I have put beautiful lands inside it, and I have all the tokens perfectly set up so that when I like need it, I can be like, and my card creates a token. Check it out. And so like I love. I don't know. I agree with you guys.
I like pulling out my box of tokens and pulling something out, you know, and being like, oh, what do I need here? Well, I have 3 different angel tokens. Which angel token do I want to use today?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my commander decks, I built Rise the Redeemed, and it's a token deck. So I have it in the Ultra Guard, the double, and one side holds the cards of the deck, and the other side is full with tokens. So I have like 3 different versions of each token that can be produced in the deck, and it's awesome.
Yeah, like my biggest favorite upcoming, I have to get my finances in order before I do this, but Card of Jigs, they will actually print custom tokens, and I'm really, really freaking excited about, I want to make, I don't have cosplay business cards yet, because I'm an amateur, I guess, but I really want to make, token business cards so that, whenever I'm at an event, and people always ask for a card, and I'm kind of, so I don't have them, and so I'll just like give some of my face. But I'm really excited. I don't know when I have to decide on the picture and like design it and stuff, and ask them what the specs for custom tokens are. But
That would be pretty cool.
It's awesome. Because I did it for when he was experimenting with selling the cosplay tokens. So I have like 6 different designs, but it is so much fun that when you play someone and then you give them a token, and or you can like, okay, here, take one, and I don't know, it's sometimes people, their faces just light up and they're like, this is so amazing, and I love that.
Yeah, well,
sharing love
like
with tokens.
tokens. Oh yeah, sorry. Things like tokens and stuff are kind of like tokens, sleeves, card boxes, anything that's like a piece of like playmats. Those are all really good like memories for certain places. I like when I go to cosplay or magic events, I always kind of collect trophies from them, and I don't know, I like that. Like this is probably my favorite thing so far that I've ever gotten from anything. It's my cardboard cutout Avison. But I like those kind of trophies, those kind of things. Trophies is a weird term for them, but like things that are like a memory where you can be like, this I got back then. Someday I'm going to be like an old grandma and my grandchildren are going to come over to my house, and instead of like dusty doilies, it's going to be like playmats and fantasy and like replicas of fantasy props, and they're just going to be like, wow, grandma. And I'm going to be like, don't hit your brother with that sword, sweetie. That sword, I'm going to be in 2012 when I went to the thing, and I built that sword out of hot glue and balsa wood. I don't know.
No, that'd be wonderful stories.
I kind of look forward to that. I mean, I don't need to get there now. Someday.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, why don't we, though, move on to our last magic topic for this week. I did want to have the two of you talk a little bit about your experience with magic cosplay, because I've had some other people on. I've had Air Bubbles, Ariel, I've had Sydney, and Matt / I can't remember his Twitter handle.
Scrapper Ferret.
Scrapper Ferret, yeah. So I've kind of gotten an idea about their experiences, and I like hearing everybody's experiences when it comes to, it's tabletop cosplay, and that's just wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't know which one of you wants to start.
I started last time, so you get to start.
All right, I'll start this time.
Okay.
Do you want like my little history of it and everything?
Up to you how you want to handle this. I'm just saying like your experience in general, whether you want to use history or something else.
I don't know. I started cosplaying about 3 years ago, I guess. I have always loved Halloween, and I've always loved making costumes. Even when I was a little kid, my mom always made my own costumes for me, and that just kind of grew with me. And once I found out that cosplay was a thing, I just, jumped in both feet. And like, it's never bothered me going to a giant event and being dressed up. Sometimes I just have to like put on blinders so that I don't think about people looking at me. I don't know if that seems weird or not, but yeah. I do it because I love it. I do, like, generally I pick characters because I either really like the character, their story, or the art. And I'm in Ontario. There are not very many cosplayers up here. So up until GP Vegas, I would go to GPs and I was literally like the only cosplayer there. And I would just show up because I wanted to go and I wanted to play, and I would just also dress up. And then I started meeting people online, and we all started coordinating, and then we all met up at GP Vegas, which was absolutely amazing because cosplaying by yourself is kind of cool, but when you get together with a whole bunch of other people who have this same passion as you, and you can coordinate some of your cosplay, I don't know, and it was so much fun, and it was so different than anything I'd ever experienced before. It was amazing. Like, we went there. Most of us were sponsored by the art show to actually work shifts and it didn't feel like work at all. It was just like, it just felt like you were there and hanging out with everybody and dressed up, and it was absolutely amazing.
Cool.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have actually, the funny thing is my cosplay experience is a little bit similar in that, like, I also started with my mom making me costumes. That, like, I've always liked dressing up on Halloween, and, like, it's, like, exactly right. Yep. We're on the same page there. And like, when I was, like, 11, my family and I have always been into things together, and we first went to a local anime convention, and my mom had actually heard that people dress up, and she was like, that would be fun. Do you want to do this too? And she pointed, like, we picked a character, and I was like, yeah, let's do this. And I wore a costume, and it's just sort of it became just such a, like, ingrained part of going to any fan event for me that I always do it. Like, whatever I like, I tend to end up starting to make costumes with it, because to me it is my way of advertising, like, this is what I like, this is my favorite character, this is come talk to me about this show, because that's what I like. And that's kind of how it's used, I feel like, in the anime community. People plan meetups and photo shoots, but they're just as much of a social endeavor as they are like this is my artistic, like, representation. Like, it's both things, I think. But the reason that I've always cosplayed is because it's definitely like it's just how I express my fandom of various subjects, and I guess, yeah, like, over time it's funny. I've always thought of it as just sort of a side hobby, but I've noticed that, like, what surprised me the most at GP Vegas was just that I feel like it made me feel like, whoa, like, how did I get in this deep in terms of, like, wow, I'm here, like, promoting an art show, and I know all these beautiful, talented people, and I can't believe that I am, like, basically being put in the same group as them. Like, I don't, like, I look at my own work, and I'm always just sort of like, yeah, I made this out of a bunch of random garbage and thrift store garments. But, like, over time, you realize that everybody sort of has their own way of making things and own way of doing things, and you get to talk to a lot of people and do a lot of stuff. And I don't know, that's my favorite thing about cosplay. I really like that feeling of camaraderie. It's also definitely a good, I'm sorry to touch on this subject, I hope I'm not getting too political, but it's as a girl that's into magic, it's kind of this is gonna sound weird, because there's this weird dynamic where people are like, oh, the cosplayers don't like magic, or like they don't play or something. And, sometimes at GPs we don't play because we're too busy being in costume, but it's not that we don't play, it's just that it's too busy at a GP to play. And the thing is that people, like, for me, it started, like, it's a good starting point, because people look at you and they're like, well, like, any logical person that's not being weird is going to be like, wow, they must like magic because they spent 6 months making a costume. Yeah. And so, like, it's a good like nobody ever asks me if I'm new when I'm in a costume, if like, because a lot of times I go in and my boyfriend and I play together, but we got into magic separately. Like, it's just something that we both happen to like, that we do together. And so every time not every time, sometimes when I go to a new store, I will get the, hey, are you new? Like, are you new to magic? Can I teach you how to play? Or like that kind of thing. And I'm like, no. But if I go to a new store dressed in cosplay, people are just like, oh, a cosplayer randomly showed up at the store. Cool. And then there's less of a, I don't know. It's a good social catalyst for me. That's why I like it. That's like my.
I find people really like playing against cosplayers too, because I try to play as much as I can. Vegas was a different story, but
Yeah.
most of the times when I've gone to GPs in the past, it's always been to play the main event or to play side events all day. And I find it's a really good icebreaker too, because you'll sit down and your opponent will sit down and be like, hey, I'm playing against Nahiri today. Well, that's cool. And, you know, and I don't know, it's almost like people get relaxed when they're playing against, when they're playing against you when you're dressed in a cosplay. Because they're like, hey, I'm not actually playing against this girl, I'm playing against this elf. And I don't know, it breaks down a whole bunch of barriers.
Yeah, well, because it's like if you lose, they're like, oh, well, I beat a planeswalker. And then, like, if you win, they're like, oh, well, I guess I got beaten by a planeswalker. Whatever. At least it was fun.
Actually,
like, there's never any salt in the endeavor.
In Vegas, I did a draft early one morning, and I was dressed as Nissa, and my opponent came and sat down, and he's like, oh, well, I just don't even have a chance because I drafted blue-green. And then I beat him, and he was like, oh, well, I guess it was fated I had to lose to Nissa. So, like, I don't know, and I think it makes for fun stories. Even, you know, whether they win or lose, they can be like, yeah, well,
yeah,
I lost to Nissa, or, you know.
It's always fun to be like, just to be like, oh, well, I love being a cosplayer. Like, I like cosplaying as a character in one color scheme and then, like, drafting a totally different color scheme. It throws people for a loop. Like, I don't remember exactly what color scheme. I think, so my boyfriend and I were Gisa and Geralt at Vegas, and everybody expected that we were going to be drafting blue-black. And we drafted a different color scheme, and it was great because we were just like, no, like, you just didn't you? Like, you know, that kind of.
The same day in Vegas when I was dressed as Nissa, my husband and I did a two-headed giant, and I actually opened a Nissa, and so then I played it. And then, but in my head, every time I was like, I would lead with like a forest and then an island, I would be like, oh god, everybody's just gonna know that I have Nissa in my deck, because why else would I play these colors?
I just like to end up play myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I plus myself for 2.
It's like I kind of felt like I needed to help out here, so I'm coming down to the battlefield to assist. I mean,
I loved when Nahiri was like, I think she's still active. She is in standard. Right? She first came out.
She's still in standard.
But it was fun when I would cosplay as her more often, because it would, I don't know, it was like GP Portland around that time. It was great because actually the event where I got this cardboard, I went to a pre-release, and I was dressed. I actually was at a cosplay event before, and Nahiri was the costume that was finished at the time, and so I wore it because it's just a cool-looking costume that people like. And I just afterwards, and I was playing off as I thought I looked terrible, but everybody was so excited, and like a bunch of people ran up and they're like, I pulled, like there was this one guy that was like, I pulled foil you, and I was like, yeah, and it was so. And I like that. I think planeswalkers specifically are the funnest to cosplay as, because people who play Magic have a planeswalker, or if they pull a planeswalker, that's like their planeswalker for whatever amount of time it is. And so people, or legendary creatures kind of fall in this category too, because whenever somebody has like everybody has,
you're breaking up a little bit there. I'm getting a little bit.
Like a strong association.
Yeah,
It's fun when. Oh, is everything okay?
You broke up there for a second.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's just that everybody has a strong association, and it's really fun to be a character and have people come up to you and tell you those stories of like, you're my favorite planeswalker, you got me through this time, or you totally like were responsible for the coolest play of my life. And I'm like, well, that wasn't me. That was you in your beautiful playing, but at the same time, like, I'm willing to take a little bit of credit because I also love this character and Planeswalker, and I like to hear about those stories. Like, those stories make me so happy. I don't know, because everybody has one of those plays that was just like, well, it was just bonkers. I top decked this thing and suddenly won the game when I thought that I wasn't going to lose, or you know.
Yeah.
I feel. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. All right. I think those were some really great stories. Why don't we move on to some of our remaining topics? I want to first talk about Westbound. So, Westbound is a tabletop RPG that it's Western themed. It's a mixture of classic fantasy, so like elves and dwarfs with six-suiters, gun saloons, and they use, for rather than dice, use a poker deck for randomization.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you actually play poker?
To play a magic deck?
From what I've seen, I guess you could play poker, but I've only looked at like the basics of the
Well, you could be the
system.
gambler.
Mm-hmm.
You probably would play poker.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If you're the gambler.
Yeah. Each suit is basically based upon a different ability you have. Tradition, luck, grit, and fortitude. Tradition for hearts, fortitude for diamonds, clubs is luck, spades is grit. And you basically have a sort of deck of playing cards that you're going to use. And you're going to use it to attack, overcome obstacles, and things like that. And I guess you use cards from your deck as you go, and when you rest 8 hours, you basically can shuffle all your 52 cards back together.
That is so cool. That makes so much sense in terms of the, like, because if you know you've used like 4 kings or whatever, you know that you're spent in
and
a certain direction.
Yep.
And so it makes sense with the reshuffle.
Yeah. So they do have a basic rules set out with some setting, some of the classes, which they call sorts, some of the breeds, and a bunch of archetypes. Some basic, like, spell list, rules, some things for game masters, with a little adventure even added in the back. And that's why I really like this, because they do have a basics that you can download. And they are planning for a, like, full Kickstarter starting in September. So it's sort of like, here's our basics, a free set of it. We're going to have a big Kickstarter coming up, which we're going to have a lot more things for it. We're more sorts, more breeds, more archetypes, a lot of different traits that you can use to build your characters. And that, it looks really cool. I mean, that's one of those things.
I think one of the interesting things is they don't have humans.
They don't mention humans. No.
Yeah.
That because humans are always broken. Like, I mean, at least in D&D, humans are always just. It's hard not to build a human because the way that their build works is just like, well, if I want to make a strong character with like ability.
Yeah, it's like I'm going for the basics.
It's just.
See, I'm okay with that because I've always hated playing humans. I always like elves and anything else that I could be. So
I play a lot of gnomes.
Humans just seem so boring, and
I'm a human every day,
Yeah.
I totally
I'm an elf.
Sentiment as well because I like how pretty all the other races are.
Yes.
I'm always public games are like I play with the Adventurers League sometimes, and it's always hard not to make a human for those because sometimes if you're at level 1, it can get really dicey and you die really fast, and then you don't get to play that character again. And so I'm always like, I guess I'll make a human so they're just a little bit less likely to die quickly, but at the same time, I don't know. That's like my own like weird personal opinion, but I'm glad there aren't humans because they are.
Well, we can't.
They have elf, dwarf, half-breed, which I'd have to look what that is, ogre, and goblin.
Well,
Now,
what is half-breed? Is it like
I'm going to look it up.
different kinds? Like, can you be a half-elf, half-orc, or like a half-gnome, a half...
I'm looking right.
It's a human in disguise.
Human in disguise.
It's
Human has another name.
I'm actually a human. Don't tell anyone.
every race of every other race is just human. Which actually makes sense, because humans have more variation in them than.
Yeah, it's hard to say. They just say it's sort of like in between two races, so I guess it's you just
A combination
of any of the other two. And I guess
Yeah.
you just choose an appearance that sort of like matches that, but you get similar abilities no matter what you are. Because it looks like you do have choices along the way. Because I mean, like, it's kind of interesting that they went for like ogres as one of the races too, you know, and goblins. So I definitely like their choices of races. That makes it feel unique. And we know they're gonna have more, so we can't say for sure they're not gonna have human. They just are like avoiding it with this basic one they've put out now, because
That's
there's
right. You have to support their Kickstarter to get the humans.
because they do say the full book will have 3 more of their races, so we're not sure what they're going to be at all.
The real question: are there going to be lizard?
There probably should be. That's the thing.
They're located in the desert.
Yeah, so lizard people, right? Like,
Well-
I mean, maybe I'm making some assumptions here, but.
Well, the thing is, if you
What
check
lizard
out
people?
if you check out their art under Denizens of the West, one of them is Bandito Gecko.
Yes!
So,
I want that. Can I be them?
so it's like a bandit gecko with guns.
Buy Geico or die.
I solidly am in support of this character. Yeah.
See, it would be so cool if they had like chameleons who could be rogues and they could, you know, use their chameleon to disappear, and there's so many possibilities.
Like a snaky, I don't know, just a rattlesnake person that is.
But I do like their selection of like.
That would be a rogue archetype too. I am apparently bad at thinking of archetypes for people, even though I just was
No,
really into that idea.
It's fine. It's fine. I do like the classes / sorts they have though, because it's like we have 3 really quintessential Wild West one, and then we have a wizard, and then something like like a savage, which I'm guessing is like their word for natives of the country you're in.
Well, also they also have things though for savage weapons. It's people. Savage weapons are weapons like swords, bows. So it's basically, yeah, probably like natives or people who tend to use more basic weapons. They don't use firearms and such.
Yeah, you're technically less developed people, which which I guess could be of any race then maybe, because they're opening it up, because I guess you could have anybody a savage. Let's look that up.
I would.
I mean, I feel like it's definitely a little bit interesting. I mean, the Western fiction usually does have Native Americans in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean
In
your
some
basic
capacity.
cowboys and Indians.
So
Yeah.
if that's what their direction is going, that might be what that is.
And I like they have taken a little bit of leeway from things like 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, which have like backgrounds, and they have archetypes that you can add in it. So it's like we now have, and that adds a lot to it also. And it's, I mean, like the archetypes, like just looking over one very quickly now, it doesn't really add a lot to your character at the moment, except the actual character aspect of it. And that's something I can always get behind, because it's sort of like, it's like getting a concept in a White Wolf game. You're like, oh, this concept helps determine who I am. Very easily. So no, I'm looking forward to this one, and I actually have been I'm considering maybe like trying out using the basic rules of like doing a game or something, like maybe doing a one-shot or something.
I'll try it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a card deck as
Yeah.
as your dice substitute, essentially.
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
I think that seems cool. I like it because there's actually a little bit more. I feel like there's more interesting prediction that you can do based on. I like that about card decks where you can play. You can play for a while and be like, well, I know that I'm not going to do any better than this certain level because I've already done this, or I know that I've got a lot in me because all I've done is. It actually has like some statistical predictability, but not too much. So I think it would be pretty fun to be able to know what, like, because when you roll with D&D, when you roll a D20, you're like, okay, 1, 1, 1. You could continue to roll a 1 forever or low scores forever based on the likelihood of rolling something. Like, you probably won't, but there's no distinct, like, well, there's no more 1s left in the deck, so this has got to be better, you know? Or whatever a bad card is in a 42 card deck. It's the statistical likelihood will slowly go down the worse that you.
And the thing is, it's also like I like how they're having the playing card deck represent your vitality too. So it's sort of like not only is it representing your ability to do things because you have to use cards to use all your abilities. If you run out, you're like, blah. You're defeated. You know.
Right.
I'm guessing I haven't seen the system of like character death, but I mean, it looks like you be kind of reduced down to not being in good shape, basically.
Or like forced to take an 8-hour rest if you passed out.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, but
Yeah.
that's
So.
pretty cool.
No, it's definitely a very cool system. It's different system is one of those things, you know, and that's why I guess it also interests me a little bit more.
Yeah. I love roleplay games that have a slightly altered system, especially when they tap into games that you are already used to playing. Like one of my big favorites is actually Dread, where you pull pieces from a Jenga tower to.
Oh yeah. Dread.
It can really. I think what's important with the decision medium is how well it contributes to the people's feelings during the game. And I think that if you're playing a Western game, I actually really like the deck of cards because I think that feeling of holding cards, shuffling cards, like dealing cards, like that's very
Flavorful.
That's very flavorful. Like, yeah, that's what people. It's like that's what comes into your head when you think Wild West. You think the saloon, like dealing cards, maybe a nice whiskey.
Whiskey. Sure, whiskey.
Yes.
Drink then.
Whiskey. Probably
One of
whiskey.
those leather
I don't know.
hat things.
Whiskey or rye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And probably someone cheating at gambling somewhere in here.
Yeah, and then
Probably the gambler.
accusing other people of cheating at gambling because your hand is bad.
Oh, that's true also. Just to detract from the fact that you're totally losing.
Just knock the table over. You're cheating. Sorry.
You varmint! I'm gonna fill you full of lead.
Maybe we have to play this on Tabletop Simulator then, so someone could actually knock the table over.
Just play on a card table so that like you can set it up again.
Well, if he wants to do a live stream of it, though, you could play on Tabletop Simulator and be able to actually knock the game over.
That's true. That's cool. I have not played on tabletop.
It's pretty
No,
good.
I haven't either.
Yeah, it's really good for board games. Card games, it's a little bit trickier, but board games, it's really good for.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. All right. Why don't we talk about the last topic of the day? I wanted to talk about the first technical release from Starfinder. So, for those of you that aren't familiar, Starfinder is Pathfinder's new system. It's basically set in their same universe, but they're using entirely different setups. I mean, like, the rules are fairly standard. You have ability scores, you have armor, you have feats, you have weapons, you have gear, but they've changed a few things around. They've got new stuff. And on Free Tabletop Day, they basically were giving out these books, First Contact. And now they're like, you know what you can do? You can get these for free PDF online. Or like $5 if you want a print version of it. So, And it gives you some basics of introducing you to the system before the big, like, player's handbook comes out.
That is
Nice.
a smart move, because that's the number one way you can hook people, because they'll be like, oh, this is free, I like it, and then they're like, oh no, now I have to buy your thing.
Oh no, it's so much fun. I just take my money.
Take my money, please.
I'm not looking at the intro magic decks I had playing around it. I think the year I got into Magic, that they were handing intro decks out at PAX, and and I was stuck in line, bored, and I was like, well, I got these decks, and then the rest is history. But that's a really good idea.
No,
so they'll grab more people. I should check out the free.
Yeah.
Thing. I've never actually played Pathfinder. I know a lot of people who like it, but I've mostly just played like Dungeons and Dragons, or I think I've looked at Dungeon World like a little bit, just because I'm really into like Monster Hearts, Apocalypse World, all that family of role play games amuses me. But I'm interested. Yeah, what do you guys think about?
I've been interested in Starfinder because I do play and run Pathfinder. Not as much as I've been doing 5th edition lately, but I have done a lot of Pathfinder, and I do plan on doing more eventually anyway. So it's interesting that they're taking their system and they're evolving it, I guess you could say, which is an interesting thing. And
well, it actually, sorry.
Go ahead.
It makes me think of Palladium and Rifts, because I used to do that ages and ages ago, and Palladium was more of the fantasy, and then Rifts was more of the technical and the guns and all of that, and I think it makes a whole lot of sense that you've got Pathfinder for the fantasy aspect, but then you can also go up to the stars, and then you have the Starfinder.
That's really cool. I guess I never really realized that about the Pathfinder universe. They have more, because I know in D&D, like, guns are kind of, everybody wants them, but no one can have them. Like, there's some campaign that you can literally find like a musket, and you can't use it, and it like, I'm always like,
well, 5th edition has been bringing guns a little bit more in,
like a little
like they, with the Unearthed Arcanas, they brought in the
yes, sir.
oh god, I can never
Artificer.
Artificer, thank you.
Yeah.
And you get a gun as an artificer.
Or there is one in Curse of Strahd that you can find.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Which we did find, and we have no idea how to use it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, come on, guns are made to be intuitive. Like, somebody should have been able to figure out how to use this. Like, just a high enough like wisdom roll or intelligence. I guess it's not wisdom. It would be intelligence, because you'd have to figure it out from nowhere. But
yeah. And the thing is, if you talk about like the Forgotten Realms campaign setting, they have like guns around because they have they have specifically an entire island of gnomes that are known for supplying smoke powder, which is, their version of gunpowder,
Yeah. But that's cool that the Pathfinder universe has more to offer in terms of doing the slightly more like steampunk sci-fi.
Yeah, well, they already had like gunslingers and stuff, so they already brought that aspect into their world, pretty much near the beginning.
But the thing is, they always said it was optional up to the game master,
right,
how much they wanted to bring in guns or not, and
they had the option there. Is my point.
It could have been like, oh, you're a gunslinger. Well, you're that one random guy in like 100,000 that managed to unlock the secrets of the pistol from some kind of master you had or something,
Yeah, and
put powder in, put bullet in, go boom.
well, I'm always kind of interested in different takes on the fantasy genre. So I like the idea of being more sci-fi. I know that like I've always liked the idea. I've heard that this is probably the most like uncomfortable game to play on Earth, but I've always been a little bit interested in Shadowrun,
Oh,
because it's
Shadowrun.
Shadowrun is a great game.
It's a
It's
cyberpunk fantasy setting, and I love that.
It's just very complicated.
I think
Also,
one time
Cyberpunk's a good game.
we
Sorry.
got past making characters and into like half of a first session, and that's as far as I got with Shadowrun.
Yeah, see, my first role-playing game ever was actually I just said it, and that was
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk. Thank you. Was Cyberpunk, which is very similar to Shadowrun. There's actually they have like stuff that you can do, use from each other's systems and stuff.
It's just that it removes the fantasy pressure. It's just a cyberpunk game.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what makes me sad because I'm like, I like cyberpunk, I like fantasy. Why don't you combine the two? What's wrong with that? Does it really have to be that hard?
Well, Shadowrun, I'm going to say it this way. The systems are deceptively complex. They're relatively simple, but when you get into the nuances, complex. Shadowrun is terrible on the game master side. As personal experience as trying to build Shadowrun adventures myself, I never give myself enough time because they're more complex. Because it's, you have to worry about all the modern things, and you have to look at it like, not only do you have all like the enemies to face, you have all the security. So you have two levels. And then,
and then if you have someone who's insisting on, running
well, you're gonna
computer
want,
missions.
You're gonna want to have that anyway. You're gonna want to have computer people. You're gonna want to have magic people. But then you have to worry about both those systems.
Yeah, because the computer system is freaking bonkers.
Yeah.
And complicated.
It's not as bad.
It's completely different than the rest of the system is the problem.
Yeah,
It's its own subsystem.
It can be paralleled in the latest editions. They've improved it, but
well, like on a logical level, it's kind of I found this out recently because since I was like 10, I've been working on this stupid fantasy novel that I will probably never publish. That is it's like one of its main points. I like cyberpunk and fantasy, so it is cyberpunk fantasy to a certain extent. And I was talking about the world to my boyfriend, and he was just like, so, if they have magic, why did they ever bother to do this? Or if they have guns, why the hell is this magic even relevant to the world? And I'm just like, stop it, it's because it's badass. When it comes down to like making up a story, a world that like that, I think cyberpunk fantasy has this inherent issue where like technology and magic, you don't want them to be mutually exclusive, but sometimes like they nullify each other, and so making a system where they all kind of meld and make sense can be no wonder like all these games that try to do it become so convoluted, like because like you kind of end up having these like, so like why did modern medicine develop to create all of these like undead abominations made from science if for the longest time healing magic has existed and can heal people to perfectly full health, or things like those kinds of
I have a simple answer for that. Not everyone could do it, and the people who couldn't wanted to find a way that they could.
Okay, actually I agree with you, and my boyfriend is now
well, I think that's the thing about Shadowrun is it basically sets up that it's an alternate history starting in the 90s where magic returned. So science was still already here. Magic had disappeared.
Magic had disappeared for a long time, and
a good way to deal with that. I like it. Like magic is dwindling and doesn't really exist anymore, and then it's coming back.
Then it basically takes a resurgence. People start changing into the other races.
The goblinization.
Where like people randomly change into like orcs and trolls and things like that.
Just walking down the street, all of a sudden, what the?
My clothes tore off, and I'm 9 foot tall now.
I feel like it would work better if people were just born as orcs and trolls. Like,
that also happened too. It's just like, congratulations, you have a baby goblin.
It happened. It's just like that. There was this like one day that like a fifth of the population changed into these other two races, and it was like, well, this has been weird.
That sounds really interesting.
Oh yeah, Shadowrun has the world setting is my favorite of like most world settings because it's just so complex, and it's basically like each edition jumps forward the clock a little bit and adds on to the last one's time frame and settings. So it feels like as you're going through editions, the world's evolving.
Yeah.
But why don't we draw it back to Starfinder a little bit?
Talking about, yeah.
I'm wondering, since a lot of the Pathfinder people moved from D&D to create and joined that company after the whole 4th edition thing happened, how close it's going to end up being to the original D&D's what we play on Sundays, and I can't think of the actual system name. Spelljammer. Yeah. Because it has a lot in common with it.
It does, but they are doing very different settings. Because what they're doing with, like, I'd say, like, Spelljammer is space fantasy. It's as simple as that. It's space fantasy. This is going for space opera and reinvigorating that. It has fantasy elements, like any good space opera does, but it's like a lesser thing. Like, there's psychic people. There is still some magic that's out there, but it's not as potent as it used to be because technology has, evolved to replace that. And there is this basic storyline that the home planet that we all knew about in Pathfinder, Galarion, has literally disappeared, and no one knows where it went. So, like, you do not know where an entire planet went. And there's, like, all this history being out in space since the planet disappeared.
Right.
And you still have a little bit of those, like, fantasy elements connected to it from it, because it is, like, an evolved world from there. But it's, like, very few people look to magic anymore, It's sort of like, it's still, like, an old thing in the back of people, that can be sort of in the back of people's minds and stuff.
It's like something your grandma told you about. Or...
Yeah.
Back in my day,
we used to fireball our enemies, then space came.
Meteor swarm.
We didn't have any of these lasers, you see. It was all...
Fire from my hands.
Fire, yeah. I could still do it. Want to see? No, Grandma, that's fine.
No, Grandma, I've got a laser gun, which does it a lot better than your little fire from your hand, and I don't run out. Grandma.
I don't even have to use spell slots, Grandma.
Yeah. No,
Sorry.
It's fine. And I like how they have a couple of the traditional races. They've introduced a few new races. Like, I like how they have insect people that had been, like, a legion, locust swarm, and then one of them, and then they gain sentience, basically. And then it's like, well, we're individuals now. Huh.
That's cool. That's a fun site. Like, I love the idea of, like, there's this planet that's like a hive mind, and then you take one person off of the hive mind, and, like, they get disconnected, and then they're like, oh,
yeah, and then it just...
And then, like, they end up going back to their planet and being like, guys, we're all individuals, and then, like...
No, I mean, like...
it just seems like a really fun story dynamic. I don't know. I get really into, like...
No,
sections.
The races they've introduced for Starfinder are really interesting, and I think that's one of the reasons, like with the new ones, that I'm big on board for trying it out, because they have, like, definitely come up with an interesting loose groups of classes and races to choose from. Like you of course you have your standard things like humans, and you have like an android race. You have, like, if I can find the full list of classes and races back in the Starfinder information.
I like your song.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah, the Sheeran are the reptilian race. Oh no, there's the Vesca reptilians. The Sheerans are the insects that, had been like a hive mind, and then all of a sudden they aren't, and it's like, well, that happened to us.
Now we have to figure out how to govern ourselves, and...
Well, it's supposed... At least they're saying, like, it's a couple generations after then, so, like, their horrible, like, locust swarm is no longer in existence, and they're, like, Well, sorry, people. We kind of murdered a lot of you. We're good now?
I'm sorry about all the murder.
I think it's really cool that they're stepping outside of your normal race possibilities so that you can explore things like being a lizard person or being an insect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's like also like it's very interesting that the Sheeran's entire history is based around like everyone else's joint history as to why like all the races get along. They're like, there was this powerful pact worlds to fight against the swarm. The swarm killed itself and began with individuals.
Nice. Well, and I like how it this is like a issue I've had for a long time with lots of roleplay games, like D&D. Not that I don't love them, but I'm always, and this was my friends and I did a homebrew campaign a long time ago, and one of our rules was there are no inherently evil races. Every individual looks different, but is like an actual person that is capable of thought and nuanced existence. And I think that like that's a nice take on having a race of insect people, because usually it's like, oh yeah, these are centaurs. They're all like neutral good, and these are kobolds. They're all chaotic evil, or and I always feel like that's like a little. I mean, there's no actual real people being offended by it, but like on a certain level, I'm like, but what if the kobold is like, what if he saw power and he turned nice?
Hey! Neverwinter Nights had Deacon, the kobold bard.
God.
Yep.
Like I'm a huge fan of Hearthstone. I used to be obsessed with World of Warcraft, but I don't do that anymore because I have a life. But I love Murlocs. Murlocs are my favorite, so maybe that's the origin of my like, no, Murlocs are nice. They're not just the mean things that swarm you in the middle of nowhere, then kill you and eat your corpse. They're nice. I'm a big
They'll give you a hug and then eat your corpse.
Yeah, or like Morgul the Oracle. He is a peaceful shaman. Beautiful, lovely person. He speaks so eloquently.
So he charms you, then eats your corpse.
No, he's nice. That is what I choose to believe.
Yeah.
No, that was.
Pardon me, do you mind if I eat your corpse?
You look delightfully tasty. Smurf.
That sounds more
It's
like
better than letting the corpse go to waste, right?
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, like, what else are you gonna do with a bunch of meat? It's not like it's doing anything anymore. Might as well.
Yep. Well,
fill the tum-tum. Oh God.
no. This is actually something I was talking about in a video about Spelljammer, because I was talking about lizard folk, and they're like, they don't eat sentient folks like they're, planet-dwelling relatives, the ones that live in space. But I mean, if you're already dead.
Well, yeah, because if you're already dead,
I mean,
you don't
really
need
need
this
your body
body
anymore.
anymore.
Yeah, it's like. I mean, a burial at sea is just, burial at space is just so resource loss. That you've got a perfectly fine, bit of meat there.
Hey,
I feel
lasts
so
another
bad.
week, maybe.
Yeah.
I feel bad that I hear that and I'm like, yeah, it makes sense.
It's
Like,
like,
I'm not-
reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yep.
I'm not advocating cannibalism. Please don't think that I am. But
Soylent
you're
Green.
in a
It's
place where you
people.
don't have any resources. Like,
What about Soylent Cola?
throw resources out into space. Like,
Yep.
Who
Soylent.
knows the next time we're going to be able to land on a life-bearing planet? You know?
just I don't know, burn it for fuel at least. Like, don't.
Captain, there's a planet right there. Who knows when the next time we're going to find a planet?
I mean, when you eat your average sandwich, you probably are consuming molecules that have existed for eons and eons, and existed as things that you maybe wouldn't want to eat if you knew what they were. Like, you knew where your molecules had been.
Or just dead skin cells that are in the air.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's true. It's true. There's a lot of them. They don't really hurt you, but they're kind of gross when you think about them.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can't think about them.
Don't think
Yeah.
about it. Don't think about
Breathing
it.
yourself
Think
in
about all
right
the skin
now.
cells everywhere.
I'm breathing in myself constantly.
Yeah, I had to explain that to my son when he saw all the dust particles floating in like a sunbeam the other day, and I was explaining kind of what it was, and he was kind of just slightly horrified.
Yeah.
Had a hard time wrapping his head around it.
Congratulations, you're breathing your family.
All of your skin too, and if they were gone, you would die.
Yes.
That's what you got to remember when you're like everything about germs is gross. You're like, no, actually, if germs were gone, I would die.
Mhm.
It's
True.
sorry. I'm
That's
like,
okay.
I just wish people would stop demonizing microorganisms. They're important parts of the world. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Microorganisms
have
are
power.
people too.
Yep.
They're important. They're very important. No,
All right.
not tuberculosis though. It can go die. I don't care.
All right. Why don't we move on to our two final segments, our two regular segments. First off, will of course be stories from the table, which I guess we've sort of had a few of, but maybe the two of you have some other interesting stories you want to share. It's just basically, it can be on a role-playing game, like a deck of Magic you had, or a game you had, or I've encouraged people, but I haven't had a taker yet, even a really awesome session of a board game that went ridiculous. So, you know, one day I will have a taker on that last one. But those are something that people don't remember as much, so...
all I can think of are a bunch of really passive-aggressive conversations with my family. Like, come on.
Yeah,
That
board games.
time. No, I'm just...
Come on, it's just shoots and ladders! Live with it!
that one time that, like, I don't know.
Oh,
Played,
I have one.
Monopoly. Oh, go ahead. I wasn't thinking anything.
So we're playing with we're playing Arcadia Quest with kids right now. And okay, I'm really bad at stories. No, we were playing one on the easy ones, and I was super tired. And when I get really tired, I don't think straight, and I don't always remember. So I actually don't remember this happening. Everybody told me about it the next day. But apparently I had accidentally attracted like the Minotaur, who was like crazy and insane, and he was attacking my characters, and they were dying and they were dying and they were dying. And I managed to get them down. I got to 1 health left, and my son completed the little thing he was doing, walked out of the room, used a distant shot, killed the Minotaur, and then on his next turn went and killed my husband's last character, and then just like won it just out of everything. And apparently I cried because I was just so tired and so distraught, and I was just like, you killed my Minotaur. Yeah, so there you go. There's a board game story.
That's a great story.
Nice.
Yes, and my son is 8.
Well,
Cool.
okay. Audrey, do you have one?
I mean, I feel like this is always weird because I can always think of a million freaking stories when I'm not supposed to be talking about a
When you're
story.
not
I don't know, like my
put on the
favorite.
spot.
But like, I feel like this is like my within my group of friends, it's like my go-to story at this point. But I think I'm pretty proud of this. I recently finished my Curse of Strahd campaign.
Okay.
But the second, no, it had to have been the third. It was the third session of this campaign, and I play a cleric of joy, of fear. And it's a weird and a little bit homebrewy, but the thing that
You're breaking up a little bit again, Audrey.
we did is that there was so out a little bit, or
Yeah, there it goes. It reset. It like buffered or something.
oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Spoiler warning. If you go to Valaki, the people there are they're basically being told to have a new celebration every day, and these are terrible, joyless celebrations that make everybody unhappy, but they're supposed to be doing something important. Happened within 5 minutes, like the second I walked into Valaki and saw, or my character did, and saw these joyless celebrations, she was immediately like, blasphemy, and she started ripping down the posters for the celebration, and so we ended up deposing the Burgomaster of Valaki within about 10 minutes of existing in Valaki. And to this day, that is like my proudest achievement, because I was playing with a bunch of people that didn't even, like, barely knew me, and they were like, I mean, they're kind of my friends, but at the time, they were just sort of like, what the actual fuck? But that is like, I am devoted to my characters. If my character has, like, a thing that they care a lot about, I will not hesitate to make a terrible gaming choice to be in character. And it was really fun because in the end, you're really supposed to depose I think you're supposed to depose the leadership there anyway. So I just feel like I was really efficient.
Mm-hmm. No.
But the person that played that, I still get a lot of crap from it, from my play group, because they're just like, you literally talked to no one, and then you made a rebellion and had to...
Yeah, you didn't even communicate with anybody that lived here. You just made a rebellion.
I think I was just like, we got arrested because I was like, no, stop this festival. No one's having fun. It's not worth having. And then, like, and you never arrest a group of D&D adventurers because, I'm sorry, we're all just stronger than the guards. Like,
you're declaring war against the wrong person at that point in time.
Yes, indeed.
Oh no, Curse of Strahd's been fun. I've been still running it, but they've taken a weird left turn.
I'm a blue sheep.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I'm a blue sheep.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay. He's a wild sorcerer. Mm-hmm. So he got I get a wild magic once a minute for the next minute. The first one he got was, you're cursed with being blue. So I just ruled, because he's getting a minute with them in the first one, a bunch of them compounded to make the curse worse. So he's currently cursed with being a blue sheep, because the second one he got is, you're a sheep.
Oh no.
And I also am permanently floating.
Yeah, he's got levitation.
So I'm a floating blue sheep.
Let's go infiltrate Baba Lasaga's goats.
They already let them all loose.
I blew them
he
up.
fireballed them!
Damn it!
He fireballed them!
Oh, no. My best use of a fireball was in the Amber Temple.
Yeah.
And there was 3 witches having an argument in front of the door. And after all the crap we had been through in there, and how dangerous everything had been...
If you eat enough fireballs in that temple, you better be doling them out, too.
I decided to double fireball the group of witches.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
I quicken spelled fireball and then fireballed them, and all that was left was a smoking witch's hat.
There are yells of what there are exclamations coming from the next room where my boyfriend is listening to the conversation. Just so you know, people are impressed. I am mildly impressed.
Yeah, that was fun. I
Christmas.
took the witch's hat too.
Yeah, he took the witch's hat.
Okay.
And no, the worst part is they keep going back to the mad wizard to get help, and he's still insane.
God, that's so funny. I love how, I think it's fun how people adopt NPC, like character groups adopt NPCs. Our group was really into Blinsky.
Oh,
Because
Blinsky.
Oh, we
because
love
my
Blinsky.
character immediately started throwing all her money at him because she was like, I am your sponsor. You will now, like, so now, like, all Blinsky products are sponsored by the Church of Leah. Because they're like, it's no fun. It's no fun. It's no Blinsky.
It's no Blinsky. It's no fun. You will have Blinsky toy.
I bought 2 things from Blinsky right away. Because we had a character.
Because it's really fun to be like, oh, I am.
Yeah, I have the Strahd puppet, which I've taunted Strahd with in his face. I've also bought one of our characters. Ended up getting hung at the gallows.
Oh
So we revived her. She's fine.
I got put in the stocks. It was
But
really
he had
terrible.
but he had a toy gallows, so I bought it for her
That is really good.
because I'm a dick. And I also ended up somehow getting a monkey at one point, which I asked him to help me find someone to make a fez and vest for.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm also a blue sheep with a monkey wearing a fez.
No, you're a blue sheep. You're a blue sheep ridden by a boo from Aladdin.
Yes. And I have an invisible closet that follows me around that no one knows, no one believes me that it's there, and it just talks to me in my head.
Good.
Because they murdered the wizard that owned the closets. The closet's like, hey, I like you guys.
Nice.
Yeah. So
That
now I have a closet trying to push me to do more evil things.
We were just like, as soon as we walked into Blinsky's toy store, we were
Oh.
just like, and he was like hungry. He was like really hungry, and we were just like, oh, you poor thing, you're our best friend now. And like, almost every NPC in Valaki died because, frankly, Valaki, every time I walked into that city, I had to start some shit. I don't know. It's not because I wanted to. It's just because they had some very strong leadership issues. Like, Victor is not a good leader. Screw her. She needs to destroy Strahd more better. Sorry. No, I don't like. She's, but we always ended up having problems happen when we went to Valaki, and so all of the NPCs, the people that live in Valaki that were interesting, all died, with the exception of Blinsky. We took him out with Strahd raised Valaki because somebody gave an impassioned speech about how they were going to kill him. We got the symbol. We stole the symbol of Ravenkind from somebody, and then after this person got it, they walked outside and they were like, "Look at this! We got this, bitch! It creates daylight. We're gonna use it to burn you." And like that was
Oh my
that.
God.
And he was like, "Oh well, I'm destroying this," and he did. And it was sad. We saved Blinsky and we brought him to Crest and set him up there. So he became such an important part of, like, he was like the party pet. And so when we started the campaign, we were at like level 9 by the end, and we the person that was DMing, my boyfriend, he decided that in the next campaign, because we got really homebrew into like our own like shenanigans. So the other person that was playing is going to DM another person that was playing DMing. He's going to DM the game, and we're going to use his character. My boyfriend's character is actually going to be. We decided that Blinsky, because he had that prophet stuff going on, like he would make toys that predicted the future, kind of. So we decided that we capitalized on that, and he became. We decided he's a wizard. He's a divination wizard now. So my husband made Blinsky into a character that we will play in the next game because we brought Blinsky with us.
Nice. Well, wait, Matt, you have to do your Blinsky voice.
Is no Blinsky is no fun. You will be with Blinsky now. I am friend of you all. Toys for little childrens. You childrens are great. I am Blinsky with my friends. Oh, my friends, you are great now. I make many toys of you. I keep little Myanky friend with me. Myanky friend is the best.
Take my rations, you poor bastard. Immediate response to that character. Just never change. Never
Yep.
change.
Blinsky has to be my favorite bad Romanian accent that I do. Out of all the Romanian accents.
No, we are completely off the rails right now.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
We have a is it demon or devil?
No. The Countess from Valaki, they basically got her house burned down, so she basically united a bunch of cults of demon worshippers in the last month that they've been adventuring, and now is attempting to open some kind of portal to hell to basically make Ravenloft a new level of hell.
So right now,
It already is hell. How could you make it more hell?
By adding devils!
but right now it's great. Right now we're pretty much starting a war that's going to be between Strahd and the devils, and we kind of have to somewhat choose a side.
Lady Voctor, you are a jerk.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh, yes.
I feel bad with her because we pretended to be like really like we're like, oh yeah, we're supporting you and your leadership, and then like I was like, okay, I'm gonna stealth up and sneak, and my character's not that bad at stealth, but I rolled a 1 and like tripped and broke something, and she immediately was like, you're breaking into my house and stealing my things, and I'm like, and then I jumped out a window. And that was ran to like the oh god, this is where I'm like tabletop stories somehow start to come to my brain, but like I jumped out a window and ran to the inn, I think it's the Water Inn, or no, it's not the
I have the Strahd book right in front of me. I could be able to watch. Check this.
But I ran to the inn, and at that point we were like folk heroes in Valaki for like deposing the old burgomaster and doing all kinds of stuff. So I ran I ran into the inn, and I was like, I need help. I am now being attacked by people who accuse me of theft. And like I managed to, and I tried to like charisma my way into getting, and I have -1 charisma, I will add. So I rolled high enough that I was able to convince some people, and then my boyfriend rolled like he rolled like a D8 or a D6 to try and figure out how many people I convinced. He rolled a 1, so he just was like, yeah! There was like one guy that like stood up and was just like my follower, and I was like running around. So like there was the one guy. He was like that guy in the back that was just like really drunk and super into
No, I think the best
honor of the party now.
God, yes.
I
know where you're going.
The best story for Vallaki is they managed to maintain peace with the Burgermeister, but they needed a favor for him like later on. So they go to the Burgermeister, and he's like, look, you've disrupted my last festival, but you did like this great thing for the town that helped us out, so I let it slide. We need some more inspiration because you also got like half the city guard murdered in an attack. So we need some new recruits. Can you do something to recruit them? Okay, so 2 of the characters go off and are going to like the town square to just recruit people, naturally.
Mind you, I was one of them. I'm very charismatic. I crapped the role.
Yeah. So our ranger decides, I'm going to attract a bunch of people and go on an epic quest for an artifact. He bombs it too, so I'm like, okay, you have a young child who's pretending to be like a sword fighter, a senile old man, and 2 drunkards who some girl bet them that you could go with them. And he's like, fine, this works. He takes them deep into the woods, like half a day's journey. And then he has them find this candelabra he's carrying, rolls this persuasion check, and he's like, this is a powerful artifact. They're all buying it. They go back to town, and the little boy, okay, I'm like, okay, everybody who's there is going to spread a tale. I have the little boy roll. He rolls a 20. So people start listening to this little boy about this epic tale about how he claimed this artifact with this like magic sword, and he has a sage of an old man who has these prophecies, and his two like knights that traveled with him, those drunk guys.
I'm having a moment because Valaki is like actually for some reason now this is a statistical norm now. Valaki is susceptible to bullshit.
Really
So our one character, we started with a 4-person party. One of the characters, his weird deal was that he slowly became evil and then died. What happened? Like we had to kill him, and then the player had to get a new character, and so we decided that there was this there was like a random NPC that had attacked the old character's familiar with like a bucket, and this character's backstory, he became a folk hero in Valaki because people heard tale of the Slayer Laszlo Belasco, and I can't remember if Laszlo is in the book somewhere or if we made that name up, but he was just an NPC that was in there, and he became the folk hero, Laszlo Belasco, and he like started hanging out with like the werewolf slayers that come and go from Valaki, and so that was his backstory. He became he was a werewolf slayer. He was cool. I liked him. He and my character had a fake marriage because they had no interest in each other, but they were like the people of the city were like they shipped them because they were like the Imp Slayer and the Liberator. They were like the and so they were like okay, we can just pretend to be married and people will give us more resources. And like I think my favorite incident from that was we were trying to get some people to sell us winter cloaks for like cheaper. We had like enough for 2, but we wanted more. And I was like, oh, but couldn't you spare your price for the newlyweds? And I rolled a bluff that was just barely above the right level. And so the DM was like, so you managed to create a sickening grin that they sort of believed. And I like to draw new initiative cards, like for like judging initiative in battle. We all do initiative cards at the beginning, and I always draw a picture commemorating the favorite scene of the session on the initiative cards. And one of the fan favorites fan favorites isn't within my friend group's favorites is this picture of like them standing together, and like my character's face is just like he's like cartoony, sickening grin, like the happy newlyweds, and they were.
Well, to finish the story Matt started,
I'm sorry,
oh no, it's okay. But on top of things, so he also had this gothic trinket that I think shed cold, so there was a faint magical aura.
Nice.
So they took it to the church and convinced the priest to go along with it. But then if anyone detected magic, it does detect magical. And then on top of it, when they placed it on the altar, I cast Prestidigitation and lit the candles that were in the candelabra to make it even look more impressive. Like, all of a sudden, the candles all light.
So then also the Burgermeister was like, it's the Festival of Fire and Ice because it's got cold and firepower.
Nice.
Which everybody was actually happy about the festival for once.
Good. I support that.
I think that one of the most ridiculous things I did in that town was we were chasing Isaac.
Oh,
And we're trying to find a way into the Burgermeister's house. And I see a dining room.
And you left some through the window.
I see windows. So I misty stepped onto the dining room table in the middle of a meal that the Burgermeister's wife was having with a bunch of her friends. And I'm just like, oh, hello.
I mean, that's the thing about Curse of Strahd. It opens up so many great storylines that you can have, like, so crazy different ones. Because I know, like, weird stuff's ahead for my storyline.
Well, also, we did a lot of bad stuff in the Amber Temple. We're all horrible, tainted people.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I have a permanent, like...
Temple.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just was saying I love the Amber Temple. I also did some bad things in there.
Well, the problem was we didn't have our cleric or our paladin
At the session that they were doing all this stuff.
So we had no one for moral guidance, and I'm chaotic neutral. So I'm just like, sure, I'll take this power. I'll take that power. I have a permanent grimace. I lost all my teeth, but now have stone teeth thanks to the Mad Wizard.
Yeah, that's a story in that one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Stone dentures.
Yeah, and at one point I was turned into a living stone statue.
Cool. I
got better.
So I will not say anything more, but well, I will say a little. I will still say something, but I was level 8 during the Amber Temple, and I was level 8. This is something that people should know. I was level 8, and I'm a cleric, so I cast a spell to speak with my deity.
Ooh.
And ask them what I should do.
Oh no.
And so I did some things. That's all I'm gonna say. Really bad. And then like it was great because my character backstory was that like before she became a cleric of joy, she was like in a scary Loviataran cannibal cult, and so her childhood is like oh yeah, like it was grotesque and terrible, and like I'm done with it. But but in Barovia, your dark past is always it's so fun.
Uh,
What level were we at?
I can't remember. You guys went early.
We were like level 4 or 5, I think.
Liv, did you survive?
We survived barely, but that's why we also took a lot of bad powers.
I mean, that's a way to live.
I know. I think you were level 5 or 6 because you had Fireball.
Oh yeah, true.
I was a light cleric, which is a little homebrewy because I know Lyra is technically life domain. Don't yell at me. I know that's different. But she's a light cleric, and in the Amber Temple, she developed a fear of fire. Pretty much, like.
I wonder why.
It made me so sad as a person. I was like, how can I be this? Well, I'm scared of fire. But then it actually kind of ended up being great because then I turned it into, like, she has, like, nightmares about her own powers destroying her. And, like, sorry, I'm, like, really, I get really into my characters. And, like, I love role-play games. I don't know.
All right. I think we can go on stories all day, but we are reaching the end. And
definitely. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. And I think I was going to say a little earlier when we were talking about, getting into groups at things like conventions and tournaments, I think that's actually really good advice that we had, which is something I like to say with Gaming Sage advice. So I think we've already talked about a topic in the course of our discussions, which I guess is a great thing. Which I like when we do that, because then if we go late like this, then I don't have to worry about feeling bad about skipping a subject, a topic.
Yes.
We already talked about it. So why don't we end for today? This was a great one. We had some excellent stories, and I'm sure we can chat for hours on end, and I'm hoping, definitely we can get the both of you on again at some point in time to chat more, because this is really fun. So, why don't we have the two of you promote yourselves? Why don't we start with Erin right now? Go ahead and promote yourself how you want.
Okay. I guess you can find me on Twitter and Facebook at Erin's Art Stuff, and Instagram. I'm on all of those. And then 21st to the 23rd of July is GP Toronto, and I get to be one of the featured cosplayers there. So come to Toronto and play Magic and say hi.
Yes. Toronto and Magic sounds like fun. I don't know if I've been to Toronto.
Canadian Magic, because the gambling laws in Canada make everything really.
Yep.
They have to give you MSRP number of cards per entry fee, so. Or at least that's what it's like in Vancouver. I don't know if it's like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like even when you get the for the main event, you get packs to go with it, and same with the standard and all of those, you get packs to go with it.
That's so
Nice.
good. I mean, it's great. I just like in America we don't we just have to pay money to play Magic, and if we win, we don't get anything. So I'm just whenever I go, I love going to Canadian markets. I'm just come home with this
All right.
packs.
So Audrey, do you have anything to promote for yourself?
Well, I guess I am the next GP I plan to be at is GP Portland in November, so a little bit away from now.
Mm-hmm.
I am also gonna on the 28th. I am going to be at an Extra Life charity event at oh man, I better get that. I am not remembering the game store off the top of my head because it's very early for me and I'm very stupid right now. But I'm doing that and it's gonna be fun. It's on the 28th. My Facebook is Oridayo Cosplay, ORIDAYO Cosplay. My Twitter is at Oridesu, ORIDESU. If you want to follow me, you can. I like to do stuff. I really, really like to cosplay at events, and I like to talk and do fun things. But also, I'm pretty See, like, I feel like it's always a little awkward to promote myself like this. I feel bad, but thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Joe, I can guess what you're going to talk about.
Yes. Well, again, we'll be back on next Saturday, but tomorrow we will. Is it 4 still?
It's 4 still.
Tomorrow we will be doing more of Treasure of the Lost Legion. I'm getting better with that.
You are.
Yes, I almost said Legend again. Legends of the Hidden Legion. Treasure of the Lost Legion. So come back and watch more shenanigans tomorrow of tree moves and such.
Hey, you guys just got to a new planet, and it's totally tropical vacation planet. And you also infested it with manticores.
What manicore?
That may or may not be pregnant. It might have been a pregnant female, and now you've just got.
We don't know. We didn't try to sex the manicore, okay?
There might be a breed of. It's like putting a frog in Australia or something, and it spreads.
Do manicores have children, or do they have eggs?
Do they asexually reproduce by like two manicores?
No, there probably, if it wants to actually be a breed, there'd be a lot of extra, inter-manticore relationships that shouldn't exist, but whatever. They're the only examples of their species on the planet.
Well, couldn't a manticore like mate with like a deer or something, and then the deer like give birth to like a deericore? I don't know. I feel like mythological creatures do weird things and like produce by like interacting with non-magical creatures.
I don't know. I haven't decided all the monsters or creatures that are in Caribbean planet or not. So we'll have to find out.
I have a question. Will there be steel drums?
I'd say manticore mates with like a monitor lizard, and you get lizard manticore.
There probably will be steel drums.
Lizard people, okay.
Yes, we're getting back to lizard people. We're going full circle with lizards here and snakes.
On planes.
On planes. Which now or on a boat, which may have a goat.
Or it could be a plane as in a plane of existence.
Oh! Ooh! Now we're going back here. Alright, so yeah. Tomorrow, Treasure of the Lost Legion. Next week, we'll be back on with a couple more guests lined up. It looks like we're going to have technically 4, but 3 monitors, because there will be 2 people together. So that'll be an interesting one. What else was I going to say? Normal stream times for gaming, 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, or later, depending on if I'm doing multiplayer or not. And videos on the channel. And as usual, I do have, if you want to show extra support other than following here on YouTube, I do technically have the Patreon down below if anybody wants to check that out. And I think that's everything about supporting me and all the products I do and everybody else's. So I think we're good for today. I have to remember to, make sure everybody gets that kind of pimping themselves out, including myself.
Good. Self-care is very important.
Yes. All right, everyone. So I hope you had a great week. We will be back next week for more exciting adventures. And if you missed part of it, you can always catch the VOD on my channel around Wednesday or Thursday. It should be up next week. So I will see you again next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.